What's up, everyone? We're doing our live stream here on Twitch and lichess. International Master William Paschall. We are doing the subscriber stream. It's Thursday night. Game analysis. If you guys would like to submit a game and your subscribers on the Twitch stream, please do so. I've got game suggestions from Nefidov, Move 11, and Acerbate so far. What is up, everybody? It's Thursday night. I just clicked on the window by accident. So here we are. Juicebox Wizard, what's up? Juicebox Wizard, Acerbate, Soltigo. Soltigo is the weekly leader in the bits donations. If you guys want to donate, support the stream, don't forget that you can donate via PayPal also. Much appreciated. Starving artists that we are. I don't like to beg, but it never hurts to support the stream a little bit. JCS, thanks for subscribing, guys. Anyway, this is my way of saying thank you to the subscribers. Tushar, he's temporarily unsubscribed. Hopefully he gets $1 million job at his job interview. He can throw us a few bucks. All right, we've got game analysis here. I've got another message, maybe another game. No, that's I won a message. I got a message for winning a correspondence game. I need to win some correspondence games. I got one that doesn't look good. We're probably going to be losing one. I made a terrible mistake in a Blumenfeld Gambit. I forgot my own analysis that I did in a video I did for the Blumenfeld Gambit. That's embarrassing. Got any games for Move 11? Yes, I have the game for Move 11. Nefidov, Move 11, Acerbate. That's where we're at right now. How's the stream look? Someone said I should up the FPS. I didn't mess with that, but I will do that soon. Alright, let's get things underway. I might play something weird happened to my stream on my view over here. This is a bug in Twitch, but it's no problem. Alright. So, well, something weird. Are you guys having trouble with your... Unless you got a time machine, that content is unavailable. Okay, that's weird. What just happened? Are we streaming? I can't see myself. Okay, I got a weird message. Hopefully Twitch isn't down. Hopefully my internet isn't down. Am I still streaming? Looks like we're alright. It's incredibly hot here. It's May 1st in Budapest, Hungary. And it feels like it's the midsummer. If you guys want to throw in a one or two... Oh, Twitch did crash for a split second. I thought so. It looks okay now, but I thought it was just my end. Okay, let's start with game analysis. Nefidov submitted a game analysis here first. He said he managed to play 3 games over the board since last subscriber's Thursday, which was 2 weeks ago. Could you please have a look at my only win? He said he's embarrassed by his losses. Alright. White resigned. Alright. This is Nefidov's only win. Now I gotta turn on my opening explorer. If you guys have a preference to have me not turn on the chess engine, you can't watch stream unless you have a time machine. That's what it said. I know. That was weird. This is the second time I saw that. It's something relatively new. All right, I changed the side of the board of the window. It's okay. Looks like it's okay. It's a little bit different than it was, but it's fitting in. Okay, the board looks okay. Let's do it. Let's leave it like that. Watching myself laugh. I do have a time machine. I can watch myself laughing 10 seconds ago. Alright, this is Nefidov playing black against a guy named Stephen Barry. One of our most solid subscribers here. Thanks for resubscribing, Tushar. That's awesome, man. Alright, Tushar, Juicebox Wizard gifted him a sub. Wow, man. You guys are awesome. The feeling of community here. But Tushar has been kind. He's been very supportive of the stream. And he's also, I think, playing some training games with some of the other players from the stream, which I think is really cool. I saw a couple of your games against Mr. Coffee, too sharp. So e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, c3, the Ponziani. And recently I saw someone, oh I know, one of my opponents who I played in round 7 of the Budapest Spring Festival plays this. There was a guy, a master from Hungary, who organized some tournaments 20 years ago, Tomcsányi Peter, who, if you don't know, Hungarian names are reversed. So when you say a Hungarian name, you say the last name first and the first name last. So when I say Tomcsányi Peter, his family name is Tomcsányi and his first name is Peter. Some people get confused. Acerbate was getting confused about that. Acerbate, just to to qualify, when you see one of my Hungarian opponents is named Gergely, that's not his family name, that's his first name. So Antal Gergely is Gergely is like, George in Hungary, a kind of form of George, I guess. Ginger64, thanks to the host. No Too Shark. Mr. Coffee didn't send them, but he did put them in a study that I saw. So c3, d5. So Tomcsányi, the reason I'm telling you the story about this random Hungarian master was that he wrote a book on the Ponziani 20 years ago, and I think, to my knowledge, that's the only book I've ever seen that someone actually wrote on the Ponziani. I still have it in the States in my library, but it's such an infrequent opening. But now that I see this, I'm having a weird flashback that I think I saw Nefedov play a Ponziani before. What is the chance? The Ponziani is so rare, and yet I have the weird sensation that we've seen Nefedov do this before. Nefedov had like another Ponziani. What is the chance? Like the same player. The big question, I guess, Tomcsányi, when he wrote his book on the Ponziani, was that the whole premise of the book was that it was kind of divided into 2 chapters. It seems like knight f6 and d5 are both viable. You would think like knight f6 would be more fundamental, attacking a pawn, developing a knight. Whereas like opening the position with black seems like you're almost like pushing it a little bit. You're also hosting. Thanks, Tushar. Anyone getting weird background noise? There was a beeping sound from the construction in the building two houses down, but I don't think you guys would have heard that. But I don't think so. Hopefully we're not getting any weird background noise. I've got the window virtually closed. It's like a sauna in here, just for your sake. So anyway, long story short, 2 variations. I have no idea which is better. We can't really trust Stockfish 100%. Knight f6 feels more, fundamental in a way, but at the same time, d5 is like more aggressive. So d5, queen a4, the main line, and now Nefedov played bishop d7, and Nefedov, I don't know if he's here, but he did play this once before. And I have the feeling I saw an Almaty game with bishop d7. Then when I look, there's no Almaty game. I'm not really getting it. I swear there was an Almaty game, but Almaty would be like the highest rated player. If we looked, he would easily be the only player over 2700 in the list here. So I'm misremembering something. Was it a different move, possibly? Queen d6? Queen d6. Nobody there. There's Milos and Bakro. What did Mr. Almaty play? Pawn takes e4, knight takes e5. This is yet another variation. Anatoly Karpov. I don't know. I can't find this mystery Almaty game. f6, perhaps? That seems to be the main line. We got Karyakin playing f6. It looks like a lot of professionals prefer f6, Nefedov. I mean, I gotta like this. Karyakin playing it against Nepomniachtchi twice, Wesley So playing it, and Yakovenko playing it. Then I would have to believe that f6 looks pretty good. Okay, bishop d7, e takes d5, knight d4, queen d1. Maybe I've already seen this game, and now that's why I'm confused. This would explain everything. why I thought I saw 2 Nefedov games. But that wouldn't make sense because this is fairly recent. Date 17 of April 2018. Maybe I saw it already. Anyway, this seems to be theory. Knight takes f3. G takes f3. Looks weird. Queen takes f3. So knight f6. It's basically a pawn sacrifice for the initiative. A temporary pawn. Let's hopefully a temporary pawn sacrifice for the initiative here. Black's score looks good. Bishop c4. And then bishop d6. So apparently theory says e4 now, which is a move that feels like double-edged because you're overextending a bit, but you're also gaining space, maybe opening up the d6 h2 diagonal for the bishop. That's one of the main moves. Nefedov's move is the other secondary move, and the engine likes b5, which has only been played in 2 games, once by Burkic, though, which is very relevant. That guy's a good player. So b5 is like unexplored territory that looks interesting. Nefedov plays bishop d6. Guys, we're focusing on game analysis. We might be able to play a blitz game or 2, but I want to make sure we mostly focus on getting some instructive analysis here of some good games. This looks like a good place to start. And now d3. By the way, on another topic, I think that playing the Ponziani itself is the kind of thing that could be beneficial for white. I mean, in today's world where there's a lot of opening knowledge, I think there's something to be said for playing openings that are not trendy. Everyone plays the London system now. It's at that point where it's kind of like, you know, stock trading or something. Like, you want to start selling when everyone starts buying. I mean, it's time to dump the London system. It's just reached like its maximum, kind of potential. I think the Ponziani would be the kind of opening where it's like so non-popular that it would be a good bet. So d3, and now Nefedov played h6, which is it's not a novelty. It's only been played once here. Whenever you see me stream, your tiredness goes away. You feel rejuvenated. Maybe I need to market that somehow. The Ponziani opening titled because... what's the question exactly, Aserbe? What do you mean by Ponziani opening titled because? I don't understand what you're asking. So h6. This is a hesitant move, isn't it? I was just talking to one of my students about unnecessary pawn moves that waste time, and this feels like one of those moves. I mean, here we are playing a gambit, Do we have time to play h6? Although, like, what other options are there? That's the real question. It looks like b5 again. You can always, Mohamed Tissir, that's a decent player, I guess. You can always play b5, but it's not really changing the situation here. I mean, c6 looks interesting. But Nefedov's point is that h6 takes away g5. So h6 is a way of actually, in effect, like controlling the d5 square indirectly. Because of, well, obviously someone named Ponziani. It's a very old opening, probably. So c6, bishop g5. So h6. Okay, it looks slow for a gambit style position, though, admittedly. It looks like black has played queen e7 on a couple of occasions, trying to maybe castle queenside and go nuts on the other side. There's also a pawn bayonet you could try to go g5. So Nefedov's idea is quite interesting. h6, it's just that it's a little slow, So it looks like, what's the main line here? Bishop g4. Everybody and his brother who plays the Ponziani knows this position, probably. Though there's like no games of players who are over 2,400. And the engine says that white is just up a pawn after queen e3. I mean, white's coordination is far from perfect. The bishop is just totally randomly on g4. But we can castle. Then, like, what next, you know? It's not that clear that white doesn't have just a kind of pawn up and black doesn't have quite enough. That's the feeling I've got here. My first thoughts would drift toward maybe Nefedov should play a different line. You know, that's where I'm at right now. If this is my opening preparation for this guy and I haven't actually played the game yet, I would be around this point saying, well, maybe we need to find a different line for black because this one might not be quite good enough. H6 is logical, though, but it looks like it's not quite enough. Knight d2, that's the best move according to the engine. And then bishop g4. This is kind of inconsistent in a way to play h6 and bishop g4. I thought they were sort of separate entities. But now he's blocked bishop g5, so that's not an issue anymore. This is not really a happy moment here. Maybe c6, but it's too slow now because of knight e4. Bang. You know, that's just too strong. Yep. Black has some problems. Unanswered problems. Bishop g4 seems kind of random. Queen e3. How strong is this guy, by the way? We don't know. I mean, I trust Stockfish. It's pretty good degree, man. Not for opening theory, but for general evaluation of positions, I trust it a lot. Stockfish says white is better here. I mean, this is pretty clear. Black doesn't have enough compensation for the pawn. It's obvious now. Castles. Okay, white has some issues with coordination. Knight takes e4. I wonder if Nefedov should consider playing something like bishop e7. You can't really leave that knight there forever, but is this worth considering? There's tactics problems. Plus, we're just down a pawn. He could simply play knight takes f6, bishop takes f6, queen g3, and bishop takes h6. Okay. No, Nefedov has serious problems here. This was right. He has to do this. And now we go with the f5 pawn with some play. I guess knight e4 may have been a serious mistake if we think about it. Look at knight. Mr. Knight is in the way of Mr. F pawn. And white plays knight e4, but by doing that, he enables Nefedov to just unravel his whole like counterplay with f5. It just seems like white has to find something better here. Why not simply, like, say, castle? You know, is that so bad? Why not get the king to a safe position if I'm white here? I'm just analyzing this position. I'm not, like, favoring, you know, just Nefedov's side. I want to be objective, you know. I think that white is better. But I like castles better than knight e4. Maybe white had fantasies of castling queenside. You know, that's what I'm afraid of. But still maybe not unrealistic. Okay, let's see. He's a pawn up, takes, f5, only move. And then pawn takes f5. Now our fantasies of castling queenside. This is not an easy recapture, actually. Even the computer even talks about like queen f6. You have to consider all possible recaptures, but if you take with the rook, the bishop is going to get hit by like h3 and g4. What about something like queen d7? There's tactics again with queen g3 and this idea of bishop h6. So Mr. Nefedov finds the best move. Sad, but we have to actually move that bishop again backward. And then queen e2, which is very strange in my opinion. What is queen e2 about? Why in the world did white just play queen e2? He wants to mobilize his bishop, but your king is in the center, sir. Okay, do you have time for this? Very well. Okay, you have time. Queen h4. He also did protect that. The main point... Ugh. Who was I just talking to about creating pawn weaknesses with unnecessary pawn moves? Bishop e3. Developing a piece, not creating any weaknesses. this seems to be the way to go. I mean, if bishop g4, now we can play like queen d2 or queen c2, and it would be okay. So this looks like the critical moment in the game. You know, basically, white was farting around a little bit, but he played g3, which creates massive weaknesses in the king side. Now he's going to have to like castle queen side probably. I suspect that I saw this game last week or something, and then I felt like I saw Nefedov play another. I'd seen this game when he showed. Somehow I saw this 2 weeks ago or whatever. So queen f1, queen h5. Very strong move, not trading queens. And then bishop e2, queen g6. Not trading pieces. We're ready to mobilize with like rook e8. Looks good. And then c4. White doesn't seem to understand that his king is in the center of the board in an open game. But c4 is like, wow. I can't believe this is the same player who played the opening. This game is like a living advertisement for like just avoid opening theory and your opponent will fall apart. You know, a little bit of knowledge in the opening, but c4 is like, wow. I mean, g3 followed by c4. Just incomprehensible weaknesses. And Nefedov is patient. You know, he could have gone bishop e4 check, but it doesn't really do that much. So he's just kind of building up bishop e4, rook g1, and bishop c5. Bang, game over. Totally lost. So I think there's some questions about the opening variation for Nefedov, but the overall game was quite a good one. The real question, though, is if you played a strong master, would you want to repeat this variation, or would you choose something else? Move 11, 10 months in a row subscribing with a tier 1 sub here. Thank you very, very much. Yeah, g3 is a panic move. I wanted him to castle 8 years ago, you know, to be honest. And I think it still wasn't too late to castle kingside. Okay, maybe now it's dangerous. For me, queen e2 was kind of weird, you know. Why don't we just castle? Is it so problematic? Is there a really strong attack? Well, apparently the attack is pretty strong after queen h4. I mean, this is starting to get a little bit scary. So I guess queen e2 is actually a good move. And it doesn't mobilize the bishop e3. But the key moment here, maybe Nefedov should have played queen e8, in fact. The key moment is like after queen h4. Okay, this weakens the position just in general. But, I mean, develop a piece with the ability to castle queenside here. And you're definitely in the game. Alright, Too Much Love has challenged me to 5+3. But he's not a subscriber. I would prefer to play with a subscriber. Unless Too Much Love is secretly a subscriber I don't know about. We're probably only going to play like 1 or 2 games with subscribers. Alright, guys. Good game, Nefedov. Move 11 is up next. Who just subscribed, by the way. If no other games, we've got a Soltigo. Whatever happened to Ayeste? I haven't seen him on the stream. Soltigo, our moderator, is a guy, he's like anti-castling. Totally crazy, man. You know, castling was added to the game later, but it is a rather important rule to take advantage of. So, Soltigo doesn't like to castle too early. This guy, obviously, the same thing. Crewy baby. Crewy baby, alright. Yeah, that's nice. We'll make him a moderator. Alright, now, what are we going to do? We're going to play, well, I might play a blitz game or 2 with subscribers, but we're going to go on to the next game, game analysis with Move 11. Where is Move 11? Okay, Move 11 played a tournament game recently. In fact, I think it was played yesterday. Okay, Move 11, this looks like an interesting game. Damn, Soltigo, you're a little slow there with the bannings. I don't even hesitate, man. I'm just pressing the little red button. They just, you know, they come to me and I know when they want to be banned. So no messing around. Knight f3. Move 11 plays d5. Yeah, so Tushar, you can challenge me. We'll play a blitz game or two. But here, I mean, I'm playing a lot of knight f3, d5, g3 myself. But honestly, I don't know what move 11 exactly thinks here. His commentary is knight d7. I want to meet the king's Indian attack in the safest way. Okay, I understand, in principle, the concept of wanting to meet, the opening in a safe way. But I've got to make an argument. The knight d7 is a strange move. This is really a strange move. Now, it looks like it has some adherence. I was just telling someone how Vallejo Pons, in his profile here on lichess, claims to play every opening. My joke was that's why he's 2,700, not 2,800. I thought it was funny, but people are constantly trying to find new ideas because we're running out of new ideas. I mean, knight d7 looks to me like one of those moves that's sort of like that, Like, we've run out of all the standard moves. Now we're just going to start trying to play, like, weird moves. I mean, let's think about what this is. I had a game against Nanu, the Romanian Grandmaster Nanu Ciprian, about 10 years ago. I remember I was black, and he was like d4. I played knight f6. He played knight f3. I was like, okay, I'm going to play the King's Indian. I was at that time. I don't know why. I played g6. And then Nanu played knight on bd2. And I was like, I can play like bishop g7 and transpose to some kind of Peart's type of structure. But I was like, no, I'll play d5. And then he plays b4. And then I sat there and thought for like 15 minutes. I mean, I'm sure that knight d7 has a point. We'll get to that in a minute. But in terms of fundamental principles, I mean, it's like white playing, d4, knight f6, knight d2 or something, I mean, dude, we can go back to the Alapin attack, like e4, e5, knight e2. I mean, I don't think that this is a great opening for white, but it's playable. Maybe this will be like the next trend after the London system, to play knight e2 and bishop c5, and then try to get like a Greco mate or something on f2. Well, I mean, if it didn't have a point JCS, I mean, you wouldn't see people like Vallejo playing it. But I believe in mathematics and fundamental principles. I mean, there's got to be... It just doesn't look really that good. I mean, what I do like, though, is bishop g4. If you want to play knight d7, okay, let's get our bishop outside the pawn chain first, and go ahead and play knight d7. And don't have any misconceptions about this position. Move 11 said he wants to play something safest way. This is my game with Pranav Anand, this prodigy, this 12-year-old prodigy from India who I played in the tournament now. This is not about being ultra aggressive. This is just about getting the bishop outside the pawn chain. And then we're going to follow up with knight d7. I think this is actually probably like black's best way of meeting, one of the black's best ways of meeting the King's Indian attack. But let's get the bishop outside the pawn chain first on g4. Why do we want to block it in with knight on d7? I mean, for Svidler or Paco Vallejo, they're 2,700 players where they're trying to find some new ideas. But I think that this is more natural to get the bishop outside the pawn chain. All right, so knight f3, d5, g3, knight d7. The idea is to play e5, presumably. I mean, that's the only idea. But I don't like the fact that our bishop is blocked in on c8. And I like d4 for white. If white wants to play the King's Indian attack, or something like b4, I mean, maybe white, black can play e5. Okay, the problem that's going to happen to a lot of people here is that people who are dead set, these inflexible people who are dead set on playing the King's Indian attack, they can only play bishop g2 and d3. They can't change pawn structures. But I'm going to make an argument here that the best move is clear. White's best move is d4, period. End of story. And this is just not even a question. It's just a fact. You know, this move. But a lot of people playing white may be allergic to this pawn structure. You know, maybe they didn't want to play d4. So they're going to suffer a little bit here in a structure that they're unfamiliar with. But I'm very, very sure that this is white's best move. There is a best move, and that's it. You can wait. And admittedly, like, okay, I don't think that this is a problem, you know. It's not a really great setup for black, like in terms of dynamic way of playing against the Pirt's defense with colors reversed or something. You know, the whole black position looks kind of fragile with the knight on d7, and honestly, it's probably like equal or something. It's really funny that Stockfish wants to play d4 here, which is a provocative and interesting move that no one has actually tried. TN. Allowing e4. I think only Pavel Blatny would do this with white. This looks like the reversed of... It's a Pavel Blatny attack. A Pavel Blatny defense with colors reversed, actually. Blatny was crazy. He started doing like things like this with black. I mean, once I saw him lose to Novikov like a baby. Okay, it's interesting though. White can play hyper modern style. This is creative. But I mean, white needs to play d4. Objectively, that's the best move. Okay. So let's see what our hero did here with white. He played bishop g2, you know. All right. So he doesn't want an advantage. He just wants to be equal. All right, e5. Now the d4 move is for the computer. Alternatively, black could play knight f6 and try to do a reverse Nanu with b5. I was just thinking maybe some setups with c6 exist. I know this isn't the game. Wait a second. What's not the game? I know this isn't the game. I'm just saying, you know, the idea of playing b5. e5 is the game, right? e5 is the game, right? No? Oh, it's not the game. e5 is not the game. e5 is just analysis. e5, d3, knight on g to f6, castles. That's just analysis. Okay, I understand. Oh, d4 is the game. What? Okay. Sorry. d4 is the game. Well, that's good. All right. So that's best. Okay, d4 is the game. Knight on gf6. I'm not sure what the point is here. I mean, we're playing the Cully system now, a tempo down, against a solid kingside fianchetto type of setup. Okay. Yeah, I don't see anything better than knight on g to f6. Where this is not the position. Let me find the game. Knight on g to f6. This is actual game. d4, knight on g f6. So he's smart to play d4. Bishop g2. A lot of players wouldn't play d4. A lot of players religiously wouldn't play d4. Okay, so here you can play a reverse Nanu now with b5. This has been played a number of times, it looks like, by Morozevich. I think it's pushing it a little bit much. Nabadi played it last year against Banus. Nabadi's really, you know, he's been coming up. That was probably played in Zalakaros last year. It seems like it's asking a lot to play the setup a tempo down, you know, with black. It really does. But if I press the arrow key, okay. Thank you. But I think that b5 is really interesting. You see these guys? They're just 2,700. You know, it's the most dynamic move though, b5. You stop him from playing c4. Pretty much like any other move you make here, white is going to play c4 if he's a strong player. You play g6. And you said you shouldn't do this and give white the center. Well, I mean, I don't think you can stop him at this point from taking the center other than b5. You've committed your knight to d7 very early. This is not like a standard Catalan or Réti. Maybe you almost have to do the Morozevich Nanu Nabati variation with b5 if you want to really stake out some claim. So g6. There's games here. Another Nabati game. Wow. This guy plays a lot, though. So castles. Okay, I think there's a case for c4 for white, in my opinion. Maybe we ought to play this as fast as possible. Pop Gabor. Not to be confused with Pop Jula. Okay, castles, bishop g7. Now c4, best move. Now we have a problem. Now I've had this a couple times here on the stream where people played c6 and I started to get kind of irritated. This is probably what you should do. If you want something more solid, move 11. I was frustrated by this. I just played CD and I tried to find a way to, like, this looks ridiculous, like the knight on d7. Seriously. But I had one game where the guy just went like knight b6 and developed his pieces. It's really hard for white to get an edge. And I think in the other game, black just did something like a6, b5, bishop b7, and had a playable position. It may not be that bad. Yeah, Pop Gabor is playing in the Budapest Spring Festival. He's much higher rated than Pop Jula, and they have a different name. Pop is P with PAPP, the other one is PAP. Alright. Move 11 gives up the center now, so I think you should give serious credence to c6 as more solid. Definitely awkward, though. So d takes c4. Best move would be probably knight a3. It looks like, I don't know, but knight a3 is too late? No, knight a3 makes sense, right? Knight a3, knight b6, knight takes c4, knight takes c4, queen a4 check. They're all draws. c6, queen takes a4, c4, and bishop e6. Speaking of Pop Jula, I saw him playing a position like this yesterday here on lichess. No relation to Pop Gabor. No, I did. Who did I see playing this? Someone recently. All right. Anyway, that looks like pretty good. We can trade that knight on b6. That's a good deal. I want to get rid of this ridiculous knight. I think that's a good deal. So this, I don't know, knight a3 seems to be the main move. So queen a4, and then you play castles. I'm not sure it makes a big difference if you play castles or c6 here. Castles is maybe more flexible. Queen takes c4. And then I'm constantly lecturing everyone on not putting your knight on b6, not putting your knight on b3. Move 11 probably heard that a lot. He was like, I'm not going to put my knight on b6, but it looks like it's the best move here, unfortunately. We can't adhere to any one rule, like, always. So, unfortunately, against my principle of not putting knights on knight 3, it looks like he has to play knight b6 here. You have to play knight b6 here. It's just awkward, but it's temporary, and it shelters the b7 pawn from attack. Queen b3, bishop e6. I mean, I would think that white should have to watch out. I mean, if he puts his queen on c2, it's bishop f5. If he puts the queen on b3, it's like bishop e6. So the computer is coming up with queen b3. This seems to be the main line. Queen b3, bishop e6, and then go home, because there's just no other place to go. And then black plays queen c8. Not clearly the best move, though. I would think queen c8, rook e1, and white would be better, but it's not necessary to play rook e1. I don't think this exchange is necessarily that big a deal. White has a stronger center now, so it has a small advantage. We're a loser, what's up? Thanks everybody for joining me. We're going to play a blitz game or two along with the game analysis today, but I'm really into this, just analyzing. It's fun. This is a game by Move 11. He played here I got to try to move it along. The knight e4, you know. Looking at the engine, though, there weren't a lot of candidate moves. It's very tempting to try a6 here. You know, this would almost look like a normal Catalan, but you're getting hit on f4, bishop f4. This is too quick. It's just too quick. If bishop f4, you have to play c6, then there's no c5. If there's no c5, then black's position is a fail. If there's no c5, there's no b5. It's a fail. We've got a problem. Yeah. So you just have to suck it up and put the knight on b6 here, with a relatively okay position, apparently. Move 11 here with a novelty knight e4. You know, this move feels wrong because you're not developing your other pieces. You're moving the same piece twice. If it feels wrong, it probably is wrong, you know. But it's not that bad. He has ideas of blocking here on d6. He uncovers his bishop on g7. This was one of the best candidate moves outside of knight b6. And I thought this was a mature move by white. You know, not developing any pieces, but a pretty standard idea in the Catalan. Also giving the queen squares. Wojtkiewicz, my old friend, Alexander Wojtkiewicz, he used to use this kind of idea in a lot of lines. He played a lot of Catalan stuff with white. I mean, securing d4 and giving his queen a good square, a retreat square at e2, looks like not a bad idea. And then the problem actually comes up here now. Knight d6, I don't know what else black can do. But move 11 has a problem, right? The queen side. This is just a standard Catalan issue. What are we going to do? While our queen side is frozen, we can't achieve a6 and b5 because we'll weaken our diagonal too much. You know, it's kind of tempting to play c5 here, though. Can you get away with this now? Uh-oh. This is worth considering. If you can get away with c5, move 11. I mean, this move would bring you close to equality. But it still hasn't solved all your problems. I mean, obviously your queen side is frozen. So there's still some issues to work out here. This isn't 100% a panacea for black, but it's something to consider. Going for c5. Knight d6, queen there, and then e5. So he breaks the other way. There was a question I had here in this position about the placement of the white queen. It's a really big question. Should he put his queen on e2 or c2? I think with c2 he was trying to keep pressure on the c5 break, keep the lid on that. But if move 11 is breaking with e5 anyway, it's hard to say where the queen really is better placed. Okay, queen c2. Black breaks out with e5. This becomes very relevant later on. Pawn takes pawn, knight takes knight, knight takes knight, bishop takes e5. So we have an interesting ambulance alert. We have an interesting situation where move 11 is now broken with e5, which is not that standard in the Catalan. It's more like a semi-Slav type of thing. And well, I mean, his knight d7 was almost Kali's system anyway from the beginning, so he's facing the kingside majority, you know. So there is a small chance that these pawns could like avalanche forward, and this becomes pretty relevant in this game. So knight c3, bishop e6. I thought this was all okay, and there's the center. You see the center majority, or let's say the kingside majority. This is the game now, what it's revolving around. White played well, by the way. I mean, I know his rating was like 1900. He understands what he's doing. I mean, he's got a strong pawn in the center. Black has the queenside pawn majority against the white kingside pawn majority. I wouldn't want to play like Karpov here with black. Karpov would be a player who could really milk this position with white, for example. Queen c2, c5, d takes c5, queen c7. That seems awkward, putting the queen on c7, but maybe. But it looks like you had other problems. The main problem isn't the c5 pawn, but your lack of development with the bishop on c8. You know, you may have done it right. Like, you may have done this right with playing e5. I think I may lean to saying that you're correct about this. Bishop h6, rook e8. here was interesting. It's almost always wrong to put the queen on a5, but in this particular position, that was what the computer came up with too. I think that both sides played this pretty well. And then f4. This is key. I mean, it looks like white is better here to me. But he has to be very, very, very careful not to overextend. Maybe white's not better, according to the computer, but somehow white has a kind of initiative that's, we can't really quantify that with the computer evaluation. You know, because his advantage is on the king side, where your king is hemmed in by this bishop on h6. Threats look kind of scary around the black king. So here was a funny moment where actually black should have played bishop h8 right away. This is a nice subtlety. If the threat is stronger than the execution, if rook takes d6, you have queen c5 check. But I don't know how much move 11 calculated this. Maybe there were scary, scary things like f5. I don't see how that really works, though. You know, you just take it. Oh, I see the computer wants some crazy stuff with queen d6 and queen g5. Like a double threat. Oh, that's wicked. The engine finally finds f5, pawn takes pawn, queen c1. But I don't like that as much. I mean, I don't get that. That's weird. Queen c1? But this isn't really hanging, is it? The knight on d6 now. But there sure is a threat there on g5. Ooh. This is why Tushar wouldn't want to be in this position with black, and I would definitely be siding with you, Tushar. You can't just blindly accept Stockfish evaluations and say, yeah, I'll play that position, because the bottom line is that this is like a position where if black makes one tiny mistake, he's a dead man or woman or plant or animal or whatever. Not to be discriminatory. You can take a position where Stockfish says it's 0.0.1, but the bottom line is, like, you have to find perfect moves or you just lost, you know? And this looks like a position where it's harder for black to play. We can go back a couple moves here and say, okay, the advantage is just tiny advantage for white. But on a practical game, I don't want to be black here. This is tough. But why did white... Okay, white play king h2, king h1. I wouldn't want to trade queens either. But if I felt afraid, he can force an ending here. After queen f2, we improve our king, right? No, the engine said there's something wrong with that. Why? Rook takes f2, bishop takes c3. Why is king takes f2 bad? King takes f2, take. There's some weird variation. So apparently white is better in ascending. Something similar to what happened in the game. Alright. But I understand his sentiment. You know, playing king h1 seems more natural. Move 11 will later take on c3. I wouldn't want to give up that bishop, though. Is it just me, or is this inconsistent? What do you guys think? Because I have no idea. Why the hell would this guy not play queen f2, move his king away from the center, and then on the next move decide to play queen f2? You know? Like, oh yeah, I want to move my king away from the center because I don't want to be closer to the center for the ending, you know? Now I'm going to play queen f2. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. You know, this guy is like, oh, I want to put my king out of position for this ending that's coming up now. I mean, maybe he just realized too late that he didn't like his position. I mean, it looks like there should be something there, like that f5 variation, you know? I would be desperately trying to find some kind of way to play this, like a pawn sack or something. But I guess it's just a shadow too slow. Yeah, the engine says queen f2 is the best move. But I mean, it would have been more appropriate a move ago, you know. This is the point. Play it while the king is closer to the center. If we're going to trade queens, we want our king close to the center. He just, like, realized too late. Okay. Bishop h8. Luckily, there's no tactics for white. He trades queens. And here move 11 took on c3, but I have issues with this move. I may well have done it myself, but I don't want to do it. And I'm sure move 11 didn't want to do it either. I think I would have played knight c4. I mean, there's a lot of calculation to be done with this move, but I'm afraid of rook d8. You know, that looks like, oh, there's some tactics with bishop g5. That probably, and there's also rook here, which looks kind of disturbing. But what are we doing after rook d8 there? Okay, what am I missing here, guys? Rook d8, rook d2, bishop g4. Okay. Wow. Oh, that's hard to see. I would have missed this entirely. Well, that's kind of weird. Maybe this was even like contingent on why move 11 played bishop takes c3. If you don't see this move, you can't play rook d8. Well, black has to make a move. I like knight c4. I wouldn't have found bishop. I might not have found that move, but knight c4 threatening knight takes b2. I mean, the question is, I guess, f5, right? This was probably hard for move 11 to calculate, or anybody. Look at the inhuman variation you have to play. f5, bishop c8. That takes a lot of guts. And he, you know, naturally, this wouldn't be like the first on my list of candidate moves for black. Blocking in my rook on a8, you know. So that looks inconvenient. It's a problem. It's a legitimate problem. I mean, in all variations, it looks like black has problems. The knight on b5, here we're ripping, and then there's the b7 pawn. e5. Sealing off our bishop on h8. Truthfully, black might be alright here, you know? This literally might be one of black's best defenses. Maybe Karyakin would go for something like this against Magnus Carlsen. If you put him in this position, there's a high likelihood that like knight b5 would be played. But I didn't feel comfortable with this exchange. Takes, knight b5. Now there's just forever problems around the dark squares. This ends up being a draw because move 11 is like up a pawn. But the guy has compensation all the way. It looks like f5, bishop c4, rook d7 with active counterplay. This is a good move. Suddenly, good tactics by move 11. He manages to trade a set of rooks and then bust open the position with g takes f. Again, move 11 very good tactically. I've noticed that in his play. Here. Now there's a slight problem. It's called back rank mate. So the situation becomes kind of problematic. And losing the b7 pawn is like bye-bye pawn structure. But move 11 had a move here, bishop e6. I guess it hinges on this move, and then rook b4. Oh, yeah. If you calculate this out, you realize that it's the end of the road. You could indirectly defend your pawn with that, bishop e6. That's sick. It's still not a walk in the park, though. White's bishops are kind of scary, and black is only up a pawn. After something like rook d3. But you have tactics again. This is hanging. Bishop takes a2. This is looking good. So finding that tactic there. Bishop e6, not an easy move to find. This felt materialistic to me. Knight takes c3. Probably time pressure. Bishop g2. And now it's amazing. I mean, white is like 2 pawns down, but there's just too much counterplay. Too much counterplay for black. The king is never safe. The bishops are dangerous. Bishop takes a2. Rook takes b7. Now the pawns are broken. I think it's a draw. I think this is just a draw. Rook takes, rook takes. And this looks dangerous. It's funny. Rook d8 looks interesting in this position. But the problem is the bishop can pivot like from g5 to f6. So that's what he plays, that's what he plays, that's what he plays. See, there's a problem. You can't play rook d6 or something because of bishop f6. So it's just a draw here. But a funny thing was that the move 11 had a win later on. Ironically, he won a pawn. He won a pawn here. This is a weird retreating move, but he wanted to get his knight on e6. Maybe something like h6 and try to crawl the king out later on. It's not easy to do. But h6, move 11. You got to play this move. You can play rook e6 and try to crawl out here. I would assume rook d7. And then there's a fork defending that pawn on d5. There's still some chances here for white to go wrong. Probably like with a computer, it's a draw. And it looks like he's defending the pawn, but it's not going anywhere. This was an awful blunder. Ironically. I guess king f3 is still a draw. But he blundered, and then move 11 didn't see it. It's a really nice double threat. Knight c5 followed by knight e4, and knight takes f6. And once he doesn't do that, it's just a draw. Just takes his pawn. There's no way to win this position. This is totally draw. All right, good game, move 11. Let's play a blitz game here, guys. We lost our challenge from Tushar. What happened, Tushar? All right, too much love. Let's play this guy. One casual game. He's not a subscriber, but he's been waiting. We've played him before. It is a subscriber stream, but we lost our subscriber. Too much love probably won't be here. He's been waiting forever. All right, just to keep the things, you know, bedtime. Okay, you said you had to go. Sorry. Just to keep things kind of, you know, not monotonous. I was gonna say monogamous. Make sure that it's not monotonous, guys. Thank you for supporting the stream. If you can afford it, please support the stream with a PayPal donation or bits donation here on Twitch. All right, I felt like playing a Richter Rouser or Classical Sicilian. Move 11, good game overall, but I'm not really sold on that knight d7, man. I think you should just play, if you want something solid, play like everybody. Bishop g4. Look at my game with Pranav Anand. I failed to get anything with white. Okay, knight b3. This is extremely rare move. Theoretically, I mean, I guess you could play a lot of different stuff. I'm going to transpose to the dragon. Chemiculture. Totally drunk on one beer here. Alright, dragon is normal. This is a normal position, knight b3. It's funny how no one that doesn't know the theory... Am I saying double negatives? Everyone who doesn't know the theory, excuse me, tries to play like the classical dragon without retreating the knight to b3. But the idea is that white, you know, focuses on d5. Yes, it's a concession to move your knight back to b3. It's not a macho thing to do, but the classical system with like bishop e2, it's very positional. I mean, we're basically focusing on this. Any poker tips? Yeah. Don't play unless you have like $100,000 in the bank. That's my advice. All right, castles. Alright, let's try something here. You need a bankroll to play poker. I would play poker, you know, but even with a backer, I wouldn't be able to make enough money. You know, if you gotta have a bankroll to play poker. That's the #1 rule of poker. That's my poker tip for the day. That's why I'm out of business. I spent my bankroll on life. Alright. So here we are. Castles, castles. Well, no, you can play, but to try to do it as a living is what I'm saying. H3. If someone donates $100,000 to me, I'll go back to playing poker. But otherwise, I don't think I would play with even 50,000. You just couldn't make enough money. All right, H3. H3 is possibly a variation. Just not worth the stress. I'm tempted to play like A5. White will answer with A4. That's actually not that big a deal. Okay. H3 could support G4 possibly, although you don't normally want to do that with your king on G1. H3 is not really a dangerous line. I think the best for white, which I played here on the stream quite a few times, is bishop G5. Bishop E3 is relatively harmless. I've played king H1, which is also not that dangerous. Rook E1 is okay. F4 is probably a line. But H3, yeah, okay, it's a move. Bishop E6, F4, and then what, B5? Yeah, it's probably, whoa. I almost like played the wrong move order. It's a way of annoying people. Poker is a lot about statistics, man. That's one of the reasons why I'm so into statistics. Actually, statistics were the only math classes that I passed in university. I like statistics. I don't really like calculus and normal math. But I always thought statistics were more fun because they were more practical, more interesting. You know, I did a lot of economics for a couple years in college, and statistics I liked. But formulaic kind of math. Theoretical math, not as much. So bishop E3 now, I can play D5. But I'm not convinced that's the best move. Rook C8, F4. Rook C8, I mean, okay, F4, Knight A5. I'm using too much time. We just have to like make moves. Unfortunately, D5. Actually, statistics and calculus are basic for quantum math physics, yeah. Well, statistics have a lot of applications in everything, you know. I mean, it doesn't have to be like heavy theoretical math. I like statistics a lot, but I don't like math, general math. And I believe in statistics. So bishop F3. Well, anyway, too much love has too much time, and then we have to start making quick moves. You know, but you know that's one of those questions that people constantly ask you when they find out you're a chess player. That's the party question. From you go to a strange party where you don't know that many people, and then they're, oh, what do you do? This conversation I had like 10 times. Oh, I play chess. I'm like a semi-professional chess player. Oh, really? Uh-oh. Whoa, hello, Mr. Pin. How are you doing today? The question is always like, oh, you're really good at chess. You must be really, really good at math, you know? And I always am like, well, actually, not really. I actually had to withdraw from the math classes I took at university because it wasn't interesting and I was failing out. White's played this pretty solid. Now I have like a tiny, tiny edge of some kind. Almost imperceptible advantage here for black. Maybe I should just take and bring his knight to a better square. I mean, is that even a good idea? I just found statistics more interesting, you know. It's just a question of basically what's more interesting. And statistics that could apply to poker, chess, you know, a lot of different things. What are we doing? We're going to play e5 here. We're going to trade. Man, this guy has played awful fast. A solid move like e6 is kind of passive. Too Much Love. Is Too Much Love like a bullet player or something? He's from Argentina. He doesn't play bullet, but he's fast. He's fast as heck, and he's very, very solid. I'm developing my pieces in a very macho way here with rook c7. Look at this guy with the tension. He's got a minute more than me in 5-3. I was okay in high school, but I wasn't interested. Yeah, I mean, I didn't even do my homework problems like in college when I was taking math classes. I had to withdraw. I wasn't interested in it at all. So if you don't do your homework, it's kind of hard to, unless you're enormously talented. Would help to do your homework problems generally. Too Much Love has played this game really solidly. And fast too. So anyway guys, thanks for watching. Watching and playing here. What's up? We've got b4. For whatever that's worth. Probably not a lot. This guy seems strong. He's got 0 out of 4 against me so far, but today he's very, very rock solid. Objectively, this is a draw, you know. I mean, neither side has... If anything, black has a tiny advantage, but it's not enough to win the game, I think, if I'm playing a really solid player. I mean, should I be better here enough to win the game? Unlikely. Soltigo says, I wonder if there was a mathematical way to evaluate and play chess. Well, I mean, you know, this is to a great degree what I try to do, you know. But Too Much Love is making an awful lot of subtle, solid moves. I lost a rook. Okay, I'm done now. Well, that was a good game. I lost an exchange only. Oh boy, that's pretty bad. You guys distracted me. It's your fault. I moved the wrong rook to b6. Wow, knight fork. Would have been good to go with the other rook. How am I going to do that now? It's kind of awkward. I have to play rook c6 instead of rook b6. My bad. It was a much more logical move. I don't know why I spaced on that. I would normally see it. I'm a little tired or something. Now I have to fight for a draw here. Oh boy. Well, anyway, it's an instructive position trying to blockade here. I would love this as black against an engine. I wouldn't love this as black against anybody. I wouldn't wish this position on my worst enemy. We're just holding on by a thread. But I think, objectively, we have practical chances only. I mean, the computer will always win this now. But anyway, guys, it's not really a playing stream. Maybe that's my excuse. I don't know. Wow. Look at this guy with the king. I'm just going to hang out, you know, at this point. It's like a cheapo shot. Rook e4. Wow. Maybe he can lose on time. We could win on time. But I'm not going to be very proud of myself if I do. Oh, he's like going for it. But now's the time to go. Speaking of going for it. While he's busy over there, going off on a tangent. Wow, what a move to find. Oh, and he doesn't do c4. I thought he was going to do c4. I thought that was the whole point, to kick my knight off of d5. No, he had better. He had better. Yeah, I just hung an exchange. That was good. No, he just keeps finding stuff. He's very determined to win. He doesn't want to draw. He won't repeat moves. He's played pretty flawlessly, actually the whole game, without a major mistake. Oh, I guess I should have taken that pawn, huh? We got a second chance to take it. Now the position becomes unclear. Okay, at this point... Oh, he sidestepped another threat. He's fast, too. Wow. So I've got knight b4 check, but that's probably losing. Wow, he's finding a lot of moves. Oh, he stopped knight b4 check again, like psychic network style. The guy's like 1600 in bullet. So far he's sidestepped every little trick. And he's like faster than me. Another cheapo with like no time on the clock. How's he finding those moves? Yet another defense. Alright, finally a blunder. Now we're actually better. I should have played king f3 there. 1600 in bullet for real? That's a little hard to believe. Now he's offering me draw. That's really generous, man. I mean, I don't know how. You're a nice guy. It's very, very generous of you to offer me a draw now. What can I say? It's like the worst your position has been the whole game. This play is insanely fast. It's ridiculous to imagine his bullet rating is 1600. What are you talking about? Like, how would that even be possible? 77 moves and going on. Another draw for, oh, that's sportsmanlike. Always offer a second draw. But I'm not saying he's a cheater, man, but I'm saying that there's no way he's 1600 in bullet. You know, you can call it what you want, but he can't be 1600 in bullet and be able to play that fast and that accurately. It may be his friend playing on the account, dude, but it's not the same guy who made that rating of 1600. You know, it's not. He's the only way of cheating isn't using a computer. In other words, Matkun. Having your friend play on the account for you is also a form of cheating. You know, that's what I'm talking about. If this guy's playing in a tournament with this skill level and like 1600 in bullet, then he's cheating people. You know, there's no way. I mean, he's too good, too fast and too good to be 1600. I mean, that means his friend is like playing that game or something. We have to try to win this. And then offer me a draw again, dude? What are you talking about? I would never play another game with this guy. I mean, it's just totally unsportsmanlike to offer multiple draws. Really, really bad. With an increment in an informal stream, that's so rude. It's like ridiculous. He can defend almost perfectly. No, he lost on time. Here he has king e3. He couldn't find the move fast enough. Oh well, sorry. Sorry, lost. All right, back to the stream now. Don't offer multiple draws to people. Okay, that's like absurdly unsportsmanlike. And by the way, your bullet strength is like 2,000, not 1,600. All right, Nefedov. Now I'm probably not going to be playing this guy 2-0. But that guy's not 1,600 in bullet. He's like a 2,000 bullet player. His rating is bogus. That's not cool. And multiple draw offers are not cool. So let's go with Acerbate next. That's the next game analysis. I will not play another game with someone who offers me like rudely like multiple draws. It's totally unsportsmanlike. It's like a pet peeve of mine. All right, and don't do that in tournaments ever. You know, to offer draws close together. You got an increment. You got to prove the draw. Nefedov would be next. Where is this game? Acerbate. Okay, have a game for today to look at. This is Acerbate the fried liver attack. Not really fried. Why do they call this fried liver defense? Oh, anti-fried liver defense. Okay. He made 4 stalemates in 1 positions. Obviously, the guy's not a computer, but he's not the same person who's 1,600 in bullet either. All right, let's go. Next game. Request a computer analysis. All right, Acerbate is white. It's an anti-fried liver. I didn't know this had a name. Who made that up? We may have discussed this long ago. Fundamentally, white needs to open the position here. And d4 is the way to do that. I mean, it seems pretty clear. You could also castle, but I think wasting time here is not really conducive to gaining an advantage. So it seems like d4 is absolutely called for in this position. In fact, Acerbate might have had a game similar to this once before. Socratic ignorance says, I actually thought it was a rule that only one side could offer 1 draw unless the other side offered 1. No, it's not a formal rule. It's just if he did that in a tournament game where he's like repeatedly offering draws, I could go to the arbiter and complain, and they would warn him to stop doing that. But it's not technically against the rules. Maybe lichess should incorporate something like after a certain number of draw offers, like you can't offer again, you know, for another couple moves or something. I don't know, but it's open to interpretation. I just know that it's gamesmanship and it's rude, and usually little kids do it because they don't know any better. But you know, not too many times have adults done that against me. It pisses me off and it makes me want to beat them more. So I was really motivated. That's a draw position though that he reached. It's a technically drawn position, but he has to play it out to the 50 move rule, which is actually really not that easy. I think I can't make progress in the final position though. Okay, so d4, d3. No, d3 is not the right idea here. While it's not bad, it justifies h6. Black can follow up with something like g6 and bishop g7, when h6 would actually be a relatively normal move. It's a little shocking that no one actually played d3. There's a c3. I like c3 too. I mean, I think the c3, Norman Rogers from Philly, I think that c3 is justified. Pete, an old friend of mine. But yeah, c3 is justified because you're going to be playing d4, you know, but d3 is not. You want to play for d4. It's very important. Castles is okay, d4 immediately, or c3 supporting d4. But in all cases, you're going to be... Just to remind all that this game wasn't bullet at all. 5-3 can't be bullet by definition. Yeah, it's not bullet. I don't know, I was saying he's bullet, but I'm judging his speed, you know what I mean? I know the game wasn't bullet, but it became kind of like a bullet game. The speed of his play was like he would be like very, very competent in bullet. And blitz the guy at close to 2,000, which is legit. Yeah. But anyways, alright, so here, you know, h6 is now a very valid move when white doesn't play d4. In a closed position. Now here black did it to himself, you know. Let's open the position. I played h6. So this justifies white's d3. They're like justifying each other. It was funny. It's a really funny situation. Like black plays h6 and white should open the game. But what does white do? White plays d3, justifying h6. The black goes knight f6, white castles, and then black goes d5. What does he do? He's justifying d3. And then always in these type of positions, black is going to have big problems. He's opening the game. The e-file is like deadly. So it's just a really good Michael Adams playing the white side of the bishop's opening now. Just take, and bang. Well, this is cool. Wow. I didn't see knight e5. That's a nice move, man. Really, really nice move. Wow. I mean, the computer might prove that like rook e1 is better or something. This is more natural and easier to find. You have threats of knight takes e5 and d4. And I think in all cases, white has a big, big advantage. Most likely, black just has to lose a pawn here. But I guess you get extra credit for knight takes e5. I mean, this move is... it's kind of like a Benoni, honestly. It's a tactic in the Benoni. You like temporarily sacrifice a piece on the e-file and then regain it, you know, with like rook e1 and d4 f4. Yeah, d5 is typically a troublesome move for black. Very, very, very standard to play d5 too early is a mistake in the bishop's opening. And the gioco pianissimo in these bishop's openings are kind of, you know, interchangeable. So that was nice job, man. And now, so he has a hard time protecting this. You know, f6 is horrible. Bishop d6, I guess, hangs the other knight, you know. There just isn't a way to protect it, basically. This is the situation where you go from the frying pan into the fire. It's kind of like Alcoholics Anonymous. The first step is admitting you have a problem. See, here black isn't willing to admit he has a problem. You just need to say, okay, I messed up. I blundered. You know, I'm losing a pawn. Now let's just try to like keep the damage to the minimum. Just accept it and move on. Bishop e6, rook takes e5, and then bishop d6. Is that going to allow a devastating exchange sacrifice on e6 or something? Oh my goodness. No, rook takes d5. Ooh. We have to calculate here. Bishop d6, rook takes d5. There's queen h4s at the end of the day, aren't there? that doesn't do anything. No, this just hangs a piece. Okay. There's no bishop d6. But anyway, this is black's best chance. So the moral of the story, though, is like you have a problem and then you create a secondary problem that's worse than the original problem. You know, like, oh, my foot hurts. I think I'm going to shoot my foot off to make it better, you know. So that's what black did here, effectively. He plays f6. The cure is worse than the disease. Now weakening his king side drastically and tragically. So d4. Now knight b6. This doesn't save anything. Wow. It looks like king d7 might survive for a while here. That's the only chance. Oh, you have a nice tactic, queen sort of to f7, hitting a knight on c4. So we can just take on e5. I'm trying not to look at the moves, by the way. We can take on e5, and if knight takes c4, queen f7 check, and we're just crushing. That's the game. Apparently he has better, though. Okay, he did the same thing with queen g4 check. What's wrong with queen f7? I guess it's somehow inaccurate to play queen f7. Can't be that bad. I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. Yeah. This was a nice game by Acerbate. I just don't like d3. He made a very fundamental mistake in the opening. Not exploiting his chances there. And then rook takes e5 check. Bishop e6 is mate. He doesn't see the mate. He had it. Okay. So, yeah, nice game. Nice game, man. Not too many mistakes. Said you had 2 mistakes. Okay, I think the second mistake is... He gave you a mistake for d4. I didn't talk about this. Queen h5 check immediately. Queen h5 check immediately, then king e7. You know, that's the thing that's kind of hard to see. You know, what do we do after king e7 in this position? See, this is where the computer gave him a question mark for not playing queen h5 check, but I mean, that's kind of harsh. I mean, you're still going to have to play his original idea of d4. So I think that this is the other question mark for me is not that big a deal. Okay, queen g4, again, a minor mistake. He's getting harshed by the Stockfish evaluation. These mistakes, they're minor mistakes. For me, the only serious mistake was this move d3 in the opening. It's not really a mistake, but it's, to me, a mistake in terms of opening principles. You got to try to open it up. This is very fundamental. So d4. Okay, Acerbate, good job. And we're going to go to Nefyadov's game, play another blitz game here. Good job, man. Much improved. Guys, we're streaming for another 55 minutes till around 9:30. I'm going to check something while we wait for Nefyadov to show up. Hey guys, is that going to be okay? Will that be okay? Okay. Maybe you're mama from done. She'll come home. Oh, she's home already? No. Okay, Mr. Nefyadov, we are back, and I thought he'd be a while on the train or something. Anyway, guys, when do I even eat? Oh, I eat all the time. Just not on the stream. I think it's rude. I also think it's rude to eat at the board. Where was I recently? Oh my god. There was during the Budapest... Oh boy. During the Budapest Chess Festival, the Spring Chess Festival, there wasn't one of my opponents, but this is a guy I actually know, who's actually been really nice in personal interactions, but across from me, next to my opponent in one of the games, there was this guy, and he was an amateur. He was eating like these rice cake type of things, and like chomping them really loud while I was in big trouble in one of my games. And it wasn't just that he was like chomping them really loud, but they had this awful like peanut flavor smell. So it was like bombarding me on two fronts. Like there was the horrible sound of him chomping, and then there was this like awful peanut butter smell that was like it was horrible. I was really angry. So I tried to give him dirty looks indirectly, but he didn't get the message. Don't eat like loud foods during the game, you know? I mean, it's just absolutely incorrect and rude. Gummy bears, as long as you don't like chew them really loud, you know? Crunchy rice cakes, come on. I was really angry. I was in trouble in my game. And this guy is doing that. Alright. So I played this the other day with Nefedov, like a training game here. I put my bishop on d6. That's apparently a big mistake. Misturn datch. Kids who are taught to do this? Disturbing. Oh my god, I can't imagine the people that teach them to do that. That's perverse. So Nefedov is coming with some kind of new move here. Queen e2. Using no time. Chew. What's chew? You don't chew gummy bears? You just eat them whole? Do you like gulp them like pills? Like, what are you talking about? You're serious? That just would be no fun, you know? It wouldn't even have a taste if you just swallowed the gummy bears without chewing them. You're taking like gummy bear vitamins, I understand, you know, but like the gummy bears that you eat for taste. No, yeah, I thought so. Okay, yeah, the point is to chew them. Yeah, but anyway, this was like, God, man, I was so pissed. He spent like 10 minutes eating like 3 of these big rice cakes. And my opponent, this little kid, like, he could sense that I was angry. He was the only one. The other guy was like oblivious. The little kid knew I was pissed, but the guy was so oblivious he didn't even know, you know? But I mean, this guy is a middle-aged player who should have a sense for, you know, at this point, eating at the board is like really rude. I get up from the board and like a piece of chocolate is one thing, but if I eat anything more than that, I walk away from the board. I mean, it's just fundamentally basic. As I said earlier, if somebody offers you draw every move, you should go to the tournament director and ask them to do something about it. Now I have no place to put my queen. Queen problem. Queen c8 may be necessary. It's kind of awkward. Eat a lobster raw. The seafood smell would like kill them. Oh, I love that, Tushar. A guy... Did you guys hear the story about this Ukrainian guy in Pittsburgh? Or where was it? Some American city, like in Pennsylvania. There was a Ukrainian middle-aged guy who was like 24, and he was in high school for 4 years, and nobody knew about it. Wow, Nefedov with the knight f5 coming down on me. Well, I gotta take that, I guess. This is kind of awkward. I think I have to take this. Very, very rare tactical slip from Nefedov. Maybe not really a slip. I don't know how far he calculated this. His queen is nearly trapped, but black should have some sort of chances here. Tushar talking about a guy who was 14 playing the under 9 section. Come on, how could you get... How small was he that he could get away with that? I just don't have anything convincing here. I don't want to give him like an open position with 2 bishops against 2 knights. Even with an isolated pawn, that's probably not so bad for white. Knight e4 looks pretty interesting. Another move is bishop e4. But I think that fails. That's kind of a fail. Let's see. Knight e4, bishop takes e4, rook takes e4. Or pawn takes e4, knight g5. I'm running out of time. I have rook e6 trading queens. Maybe that's the safest move. Not really sure, though. I've got to defend my pawn on f5. He's like impervious to anything going wrong. Like no matter what Nefedov does, like there's nothing I can do to him. I have no way to get an advantage. Okay, whatever. Instantly, did you see that? He pre-moved bishop takes c7. He's pre-moving now. We could consider taking on f3. Not really convinced by it. Okay, I'm just getting in time pressure. Sweden has an influx of immigrants claiming to be kids 6 feet plus. Alright. Govin Kurt. Does anybody know why Kasparov stopped playing the King's Indian defense, started to play the Nimzo Indian? Not the only thing he played. What the heck is going on here? Well, I guess Kasparov played a lot of things. Knight takes d5, bishop takes e4, offering a draw. We'll just accept a draw. I mean, I don't think I'm better here. Nefedov never... He never makes mistakes. The computer claims it's equal, but I was a little bit concerned about bishop takes d5, bishop takes f5. I would have evaluated this as slightly better for white. I mean, he does have the bishop pair here. And I'm running out of time. I wasn't really planning on playing tonight. Like, we're focusing more on the game analysis. My head isn't really fast functioning. And Nefedov busted the tactics on me here today. But I failed to find... I failed to find anything. I was unconvinced with knight e4 as well. I thought this was kind of weird. Even bishop takes e4. This was what I wanted to do, but I don't know. Somehow knight g5 bothered me. I guess it's just a ghost, though. I can play h6, believe it or not. That didn't occur to me. Simple enough. Another good game by Nefedov. 13 center pawn loss. I had only 12. I don't know where the opening theory starts and ends there. Titled Arena will start just in time. They're waiting for me to finish the stream. But let's just see here. Bishop d3. I haven't seen... Whoa. What happened? All right. I didn't mean to move away from the game here. I wanted to see what happened. Why do I have this... Man, get out of here, game. All right. I wanted to see what happened in the opening. Bishop d3, c5 castles, bishop e7. There are other moves. I think I've played queen c7 before. Nefedov plays the main line, queen e2, and then c3. This looks like rook d1 is more dynamic. Okay, so bishop f4, he's out of book. But it looks like an awfully logical move, He's cutting me off from deploying my pieces. Nefedov's favorite results occurred in both games. Rook e1, rook d1. I don't know what to do here. Bishop b7, what else? Then he's on the d file. So here these guys played knight d5, and I played queen c8. It's not clear. It looks like white has an edge here. Wow. C takes d4. I'm unconvinced by this because of knight takes d4. I mean, this just looks like white is better. We have a queen problem. That's why I ended up going to c8, because I don't know where to put my queen. Not enough time to calculate here. I played a theoretical novelty, queen c8. And Nefedov immediately jumped tactically. He doesn't normally do crazy tactics. This was uncharacteristic of Nefedov here. You see, you try, 1 minute you try some tactic, Nefedov, and next thing you know, you're almost getting crushed. Just don't try any more tactics. E takes f5, queen takes e7, and black is fine. Alright, guys. So JSC also has a game. I'll do that next, and then Soltigo will be last. What other subscribers? Nobody else submitted a game, I guess. Let's do the JCS game. I want to say JSC. I don't know, because it sounds like USC. Ginger64 was also... he was hosting for the stream, so I appreciate that. This is Ginger64 against JCS. Kasparov confident, a good old big green guard. Brother. He said Kasparov was tired of getting bad positions against even lesser players in the bayonet. Yeah, I mean that was a period where the King's Indian went through like kind of. Yeah, but I mean nobody can really play the King's Indian constantly, man. Kasparov was lucky he went as far as he did, as long as he did, playing that as his like mainstream defense. It's just too hard. That was a different era. But I think it's hard, man. I mean, you're playing those very closed positions where like you can basically analyze it to death for very deep variations. I have no desire to play those positions. All right, so this is Ginger GM. I want to say automatically. I want to flip the board. JCS is black. He plays d4, knight f6, bishop f4, d5. I don't play d5, but it's a principled move. So e3 and then c5, which I fully agree with. Not the only approach, but probably the most critical. And then white played c3. You know, I mean c3 is c3 is not the trend. You know, the trend is to play knight c3. Knight c3, and if you try something crazy with queen b6, you know, you get a pawn sacrifice, or knight b5, and then always there's knight a6, and then something like c3. This is always good for white, kind of like a c3 Sicilian. The other thing is, if you try to play knight c6, this is also a problem. Knight b5. Busto. Jabava lost this with white to some unknown guy I never heard of. Wow. Kovalev drew with Nikolic. I mean, this is a real thing. E5? Black can even do this? What is this? I think I saw this Jabava game once before. Okay, a6. This is just a sideline that didn't happen in the game, but I just was curious what the final... This didn't happen in the Jabava game. Anyway, it's like an opening trap. I don't think it's good for black. You know, that's the moral of the story. So knight c3, we're supposed to play like cd or a6. This is pretty standard. There was the guy who got banned, by the way, finally, Flying Sky, who played this against me. I'm pretty sure he was a computer, which I reported, but they took forever to ban him. I guess he finally got banned in a Zumpli tournament. But he was a very, very high-rated bullet player who used the computer to play 3 games against me here on the stream in longer chess. I was sure it was a computer. Queen a5 here. He played this bluff variation. Queen a5 check. There's a neat line. c3, d takes c, b4, queen takes b4. It's funny. Yeah, there's several games. The Chigayev game here. Knight c7 check. This is a really messed up draw. Knight takes a8. I don't know if I showed you guys this long ago, but it's a nice variation. Queen b1 check. This is apparently a draw by rep. And that's how the game actually ended a few times. So the computer guy like bluffed me with knight b5, and I didn't know, and I played knight a6 and got an awful game, and his computer crushed me. But flying the computer. But anyway, so c3, it's not really dangerous. We should be fine after that. It's like a reverse Slav. Knight c6, knight d2. Okay, and now here, I think I was looking at this a couple days ago. Queen b6. Was I looking at this exact position? Here's a question, queen b6. I thought there was a Carlsen game here, but it might have been a slightly different position. Wasn't there a Carlsen game? Almost identical position. Carlsen had queen c2 on the board. But apparently this is not as good because black can play g6 here. Play it like a Slav. Kind of like a queen c2 Slav idea. So you can actually try queen b6. You can try bishop f5. Let's see what you did. You did queen b6. Wow. Okay. This actually seems kind of critical. It's also, okay, it's an old line. I lost this position with white once in 1997 against Zoltan Shikloshi, a Hungarian IM. I might have had my knight on f3. I must have had my knight on f3. It must have been like knight f3 with e6 or something like that in slightly different position. Probably. And then bishop f5. But bishop f5 is a mistake, I think. This is really like a reversed sort of Slav. I don't know. I assumed c4 was the best move. Maybe it's not. Here's a game, Carlsen So. And maybe that was the game that I was thinking of. Maybe it's just a different game. Carlsen's played so many of these I can't remember. Carlsen So 2017, Queen C2. I think this was the game I looked at. People are playing like Bishop G4. Wow. Okay, that's probably been analyzed in some of these London system books. But it's not really, yeah, it's not that tempting to play C4. So it looks like something like G6 is solid. Let's see your move though. Bishop F5 outside the pawn chain. I thought this is just a blunder because of D takes C5. But apparently it's theory. Some sort of theory. Wow. But here your guy played Queen takes B6. Okay, if he's going to play Queen takes B6, black is probably okay. The real question is C takes B5. Wow, so this is some kind of pawn sack? Queen takes B3? Wow. Well, A takes B3, E5, and we get the pawn back. A takes B3, E5. Material is not everything. Bishop G3, bishop takes C5, and it looks like white is better. It's really literally a reverse Slav. What's good for black? I don't think this is good for black. This looks like one of my teammates' games from one of our last round, our decisive disaster round. One of my teammates lost a critical game. Pretty much almost identical position. I don't really like this a lot. Here's the game Kosic versus Skoberny, 2009. Dragon has a couple games, but apparently it's okay. Black is holding. To me, it looks like white is a little bit better. Like black is kind of overextended and having to protect his pawns. I'm not crazy about this. I wouldn't go into this line, but it's up to you. My recommendation would be something more safe. If we can play g6, like the computer says here. Kamsky and Wróblewski played this. The problem is the pawn might drop. Let's see. Queen takes c7. I mean b6. ab6. There's some games here. Kovalenko from 2017. White goes for the pawn. But you've got knight d7, huh? Well, JCS, to me this looks a little bit safer than the game continuation. Maybe I would play g6. I mean, e6 looks like it should be playable too. It's kind of passive. This would actually transpose to a blitz game I had yesterday. The exact position. If you guys play knight f3, like Nefedov saw this game. C takes d, e takes d. Bishop e7. Wouldn't this transpose? Oh no, that was a bishop on g5. Different position. Alright, something similar. The London system and the Tory attack are very, very similar. So even e6 is, what is that, another Kamsky game? e6? Even e6 is okay. This looks like it's a little risky. So queen takes, this is not directly a problem. Queen takes b6 takes, bishop c7. Now you took here. But obviously knight d7 should be considered. This it is what? 100 from Colorado, no jokes. You have a friend who lives in Denver? Oh, Camel Culture is from Denver. Close friend of Brian Wall. I'm sorry, man. The guy just keeps sending me like, I mean his computer keeps sending me like viruses, like for the last 5 years. You know those friends you have whose like emails they lost control of? They're part of some botnet, and they just keep sending you emails after they're dead. I have several people like that. But I'd rather not play d takes, c takes d here. Yasser was on top 10 of the world. I don't know about that, man. Seriously? Are you sure? He may have been close. I do find that hard to believe. It's kind of possible. Possible by rating, but he hardly ever played. You know, he was super, super inactive and always protecting his rating. I mean, a lot of people would have said it was semi-bogus. There should be some requirement that you have to actually play more than 5 games a year or something. Yasser would not play in anything, basically, like 1 tournament a year when he was high rated. What about knight d7? This looks okay. Oh no. The computer's coming up with crazy moves. Rook c8, bishop takes b6, and then what? Oh, this is insane, dude. This is a beautiful line. Rook c8, bishop takes b6, and not knight d7 like we all expected. I mean, everybody expected knight d7 when white is better. You can take here. What? This is so sick. Like, bishop takes d4, e5, winning a piece. Or you can play take back with the pawn, and then knight d7, and then bishop c5, right? And then knight takes c5. This is an extremely difficult line to calculate before. Oh my god. And apparently, even though white has like a 4-pawn armada on the queen's side, black is better. Wow. Okay, that's hard to calculate through. But I don't know. Then there's other variations with c4 even, apparently. But anyways, it looks like your opponent went wrong. Like, clearly, like, queen takes b6 is just not the best move. D takes c5 is better. But this is compounding it. He needs to develop his pieces. Just he's black now in the Slav. He's equal. Yasser's peak is 2658 from 2011. No, that's out of... That's impossible, dude. I mean... How could he have his peak at 2011? He's already, like, he was already ancient. He hadn't played for like 10 years or something. What did he do? Like gain 1 rating point or something? I mean, between 2001 and 2011, Yasser probably gained 1 rating point to reach his peak of 2,658 over his previous peak of 2,657. But you got to take care with the FIDE ratings. Like, I wouldn't trust Wikipedia, dude. You know, Wikipedia is not like set in stone. A lot of times, like, people don't get like the current. If you go to FIDE, it doesn't show ratings going back a certain ways. You know, you just get like the last 15 years. You don't get any ratings before that. Like, you don't know what his ratings were like, say in the 90s or the 80s. You know, nobody has a clue. You know, there's no access to those ratings. Bishop here, takes. Okay, this is fine. I guess this is a key moment where I would consider playing bishop g6. And you also have to consider bishop c2, apparently. Bishop c2, rook c1. Do we have any tactics? Like rook takes a2? Not quite. What's up with this? Rook c1. Man, there's some sick moves here, like bishop e4. Wow. This is extremely subtle. I'm not sure that's even good. Apparently g5 is best. So a lot of tactical calculation required in this kind of position. This may have actually helped White a little bit. Like, you give him a square for his king at f2. He can play g4. Give his knight the retreat square back to g2 to revolve back into the game from e3 to f4, for example. Yeah, I mean, I think I would play knight g2, but bishop g3 is okay. This was an interesting game. I don't know if I can get to any more games after this. So in the early 80s, Blagojevich was third. That is surprising too. I find that almost impossible to believe. Blagojevich was third? Is that serious? I no longer believe Wikipedia about anything. How the heck was Blagojevich third? Dude, that's practically impossible. I don't believe that. You're going to have to prove that to me. No way Blagojevich was third. Bishop g6 here. h5. I'm not accepting chessgames.com as evidence. I need something more profound. Wikipedia and chessgames.com do not qualify as evidence. Nefidov, what's up, guys? Hello, junior chess players. Good night. Have a great evening. Thanks for watching and subscribing. Thanks to your dad. No, I mean, I don't believe that about. I respect Blagojevich as a great fighting player, but he wasn't that consistent, and I don't know, man. Third, wow. But I don't accept those. I want to see like an official FIDE rating, chart or something. Let's see what happens here. But basically, this was a good game by JCS. Basically, a good game. Actually, both sides played fairly well. It got really sharp here. It's starting to get crazy, like a Kramnik-Caruana game or something. Just when you think it's a draw, it starts to get out of control. Okay, White is a strong player. No major tactical mistakes. Look how flat the line is all the way across. Both sides played without major errors. It should be a draw. Famous last words. I'm getting a little worried about this pawn, actually, after this move. What are you going to do? E4? You're going to have to sack a pawn. I'm a little worried for black now. What the heck is that? Okay, f4 is like catastrophic. Why would White play f4? Why can't he play... Is d4 a serious problem? Why can't he play this? Oh, no. So f4 must have been like a panic moment. So his rook is trapped or something. He was afraid, rightfully so, of active things like d4, I guess. But it doesn't look that clear. I understand that Lebojevic was a strong player, man, who had wins against lots of great players. I'm just questioning whether he was number 3 in the world. You know, I find that a little bit over the top. I just don't know if he was 3 in the world. I don't know. I could see he's definitely top 10, you know, but top 5 or 3 in the world, it sounds like I'm not sure, you know. There's a lot of strong players at that point. But it looks like White kind of panicked with f4 here. And I think after that, it's really a draw. This should be a draw. It's just too much simplification now. Okay, with the opposite color bishops, anything can happen. But this should be a draw. But then White blundered. What is this, a blunder? Rook e2, rep draw. Rook e2, knight c1. He's got checks. So it's not a forced draw. King g8. I guess it was too dangerous to go out here to e6. Lubijevich. I'm supposed to say it Lubijevich, but I heard thousands of American chess players always call him Lubijevich, so I guess it's Lubijevich or something like that. We need a Serbian to pronounce it. I'm sure that I pronounce it wrong, but no one ever corrected me before, so I can't do it right until somebody in my 30 years of chess would bother to correct me. Knight c4. Black is better now. Long game, guys. Should have been a draw, and like when it ended up winning. Typical struggle. There's no way you should lose. But g7 became a problem. Looks like even this isn't lost. Okay, it just degenerated to a time scramble. Yeah. And it's still a draw. Knight g5 check. I guess you lost on time. This is still a draw here. Not enough material. It's just equal. There's ways you could get mated, though. That's funny. But it's not that easy. It's funny. Black can actually lose this. His king is like almost mated. But it shouldn't be lost. Top 10 FIDE list from 19... Now that I like. Chess trivia all time. Was Lebojevic indeed Lubijevich? Was he ever actually number 3? That's what I'm trying to establish. Anyway, guys, not to diss Lubijevich, but there is other good players too, you know. All right, what do we got left? Soltigo's game. Thanks everybody for subscribing and watching and playing here. And I'm going to be back tomorrow morning with Fast Friday 5+3 Classical and Blitz. Or sorry, man, I'm going back in time. I got some lag here. Blitz and Rapid Chess 5+3. Ooh, what happened? Well, I'm not logged in now. Okay, that is a weird one. How did that happen? Oh, it's showing my password. What is going on? I'm not signed in. You guys see this? Okay, I have no idea why this is happening. Why am I not signed in? Now you know how many digits are in my password. You guys are gonna secretly look it up. So according to Super Dank Fire, Lubijevich was number 3 in 1983. It seems somebody had to be number 3, and it was him. All right, I accept it. I'm surprised, but I accept it. See, that was right before I started playing chess, so I can be excused. I didn't start playing chess till 1985. And that is why I refused to accept the truth. In 1985, he had probably fallen off the pedestal, the bronze medal. Alright guys, let's get Soltigo's suggestion of a game up here. If no other games to analyze, correspondence game playing the Queen's Indian defense. We got pretty big delay. It's like a 30-second delay, it looks like, between what I'm actually doing and what's being shown on the screen. This is a correspondence game, Brinta Fox against Soltigo. And the other game, not this one. Oh no, what other game? I found a more exciting game, alright. A more exciting game to analyze against the Caro-Kann. By the way, the Caro-Kann is crazy popular. Crazy popular. You've done this before, dude. Wait a minute now. I'm totally confused. I ended up there again. Here. Wait. Okay, it's the Caro-Kann. Of course, it's the Caro-Kann. Soltigo's playing white with d4. And the game becomes a Caro-Kann. Alright. The 1983 ELO FIDE rating list. Alright, I was too young. I think in 1984 I played in an unrated tournament. If I remember correctly. So, d4, d5, e4, very sound. The Black Mardemer. Black declines the Black Mardemer with c6. And then white plays e5. Tricked you. Caro-Kann. Alright. So e5 and then c5. So, where did I see this? So somebody played this. I think Daniel Deak Bogdan played this c5. Someone in Budapest Spring Open had a really interesting game in this line. They were playing c5. Now I don't recall who it was. You know, c5 always seems like it's pushing pretty hard, but wow, Stockfish actually likes this. So then c3. But I mean, okay. You know, c3 is like an admission of defeat. It just doesn't seem dynamic, you know. I mean, either you take on c5 or you play knight f3 and you try to like hammer them with c4 really quickly. You know, I like both of these. You try to play like Karyakin. There was a really nice game. Did you guys see the game that Adiban played with Black from a recent tournament? Adiban with Black and a Caro-Kann just hammered. He hammered somebody who was around 2700. Went crazy on him. Beautiful game. Adiban's last tournament. I don't remember where it was. Maybe one of you guys know where Adiban played recently, but he played a brilliancy. Just an absolutely beautiful game in this line with black pieces against someone pretty good. So I feel like, you know, white should either take or play knight f3. You know, I mean, c3 is okay. It's solid, it's safe, but it's kind of lame. So knight c6 now. I mean, I feel like we're just giving black a good advanced French, you know? Like, black has benefited from this. Knight f3. In chess school, they taught you that if you do this, this is just good, like, equal game for black, you know? That's what they teach the little Russian children at chess school. At Uncle Yermo's chess camp. But maybe we're wrong. Okay. Anyway, like, white shouldn't be worse, but I feel like this is just harmless. Computer likes white, but I don't believe it, you know? Okay, white has more space with the e5 pawn, but still. If you're a computer, that's easy, you know, fine. But for a human to play this is so hard. Soltigo, you need to play something more dynamic here. Either takes and then play like Karyakin, or you play knight f3 and you look for your chance to really play dynamic with c4. That's it, man. Can you comment on my game with Mr. Coffee? I don't know if we have time. We'll see. So, c3, knight c6, knight f3, bishop g4. But here, I mean, Soltigo just totally loses touch with the fundamentals of development. You know, I mean, you just have to develop your pieces at this point. There's really, like, literally no other move. I mean, maybe there's some weird move like Queen A4 or something. Just jettisoning your pawn structure. I mean, what are you going to do? Pretty much Bishop E2 seems like almost forced. I couldn't imagine playing anything else here, really. Okay, that's what you did, but you did H3 next move. I don't like H3. You know, why H3? I don't think it benefits white. You know, it just weakens your king side, reduces flexibility. You're not trapping him. You're not going to go like G4, Knight H4 or something. I mean, it just, to me, it doesn't make sense. It's just pawn. It's just a weakening move. Bishop takes F3. Bishop takes F3. Now he's going to bring down the house on the D4 square really quickly, and white's in a world of hurt. This exchange is bad. Typical mistake, you know. Keep the tension, keep the tension, keep the tension always. When you have the better position, especially, as black does here, just bring down the tension on D4. He wanted to fix the pawn, which is understandable. It's not that bad of a move. But the problem in the structure is that you give white the C3 square for his knight. This is going to change everything. If black has to face knight C3 and the possibility of the queen like getting hit by knight A4, was it Audubon versus Rapport? No, Audubon was black. I think it was a later tournament. Audubon was black, and he went off. It was a recent tournament, very recently. He won like 2 beautiful games in a row, miniatures. He also won a game with white against someone else that was really, really impressive. It wasn't... somewhere Jones was playing too. Oh, I guess it was this tournament in Saudi in the UAE. There was a tournament in the United Arab Emirates, 90-minute time control, with 15 minutes maybe. No, it's the tournament in UAE. That's where it was. Okay, he won a really, really nice game with black in the Caro-Kann. It was sick, how he just brutally crushed the guy in that line with C5. It was just unreal. But no, here black's really good. Still, like knight C3 looks like it would be a hope. No, there's no time because the queen takes D4. So white's like almost lost here. It looks like Soltigo should play it like a wing gambit, like bishop E3, queen takes B2, and knight D2, and try to get out of town. This is your best bet now, to pretend you're playing the wing gambit against the Sicilian. Alright, so very bad opening play by Soltigo. And then castles, and now he should just eat this pawn. And I have the feeling this is going to turn into some kind of... it's going to turn into some kind of Milner-Barry French or something. Now we really don't want to trade queens being down a pawn. Black has all sorts of good moves here. Found one of them. Okay. And then naturally not trading queens. Knight e7. Black just needs to develop and it's over. It's taking away the g4 square. Birding his bridges behind him. Knight g6, and this is not the point, okay? Maybe black goes on to lose because he gets too greedy or something. Because right now it looks really bad for white. But I think the point for black is just to get developed. You know, not try to grab more pawns. Let's see what he does. Queen c5. I'm not in love with queen c5. Is this queen bothering anybody here? What do we have, d4? Why doesn't d4 work? Bishop takes c6 and tricks, okay? But look, the queen is sort of stupid on e3. You know, it's prone to getting hit by d4. It's obstructing the bishop on c1. What if black just develops their pieces? You know, bishop c5, or even just a modest bishop e7, and then try to castle kingside. You can resign here with white. This is just totally lost. Queen c5, queen e2 naturally. Bishop e7 principled here, and then d4. This doesn't win a piece. It may win a pawn, a secondary pawn. I mean, at this point, I think you should consider taking the pawn. I mean, it's a central pawn. Your queen's attacked anyway. it almost seems sort of weird not to take the pawn. The guy's 2058, but we'll see what goes wrong here. And then Soltigo just plays a nutty move. Bishop g5, okay. Another pawn bites the dust. Don't tell me this guy like takes with the king or something. Alright. Don't even go there. Knight takes f3 check. King takes f3. Knight takes e7. Okay. And all he needs to do is castle. Alright, we're out of there. And I just can't imagine what could go wrong for black here. Like g5, knight f6 check. I mean, how do you lose this position? Rook c5. It's hard to pull the trigger on f5, but definitely a move one might want to consider. What's that, Tushar? I sent you a message 2 days ago. Look into if you received it. I think it might have been more than 2 days ago, but I think I did. But I didn't think it was relevant to, you know, I didn't take it as relevant to the subscriber stream. Wow. Out of the blue. Just absolutely out of the blue. Floating pieces. One lazy move by black, rook d8, and then rook g5. Now, all he needs to do here is stick his knight on g6, and he's probably clearly winning. But I have to admit, it doesn't look like it's that big a deal. You know, he looked at knight f6 check. He thought, that's fine. Actually, even knight there check does look kind of disturbing, come to think of it. I mean, rook g5, he played what? King f8? I mean, why play king f8 when you can play knight g6? But I admit this is hard to see. You know, rook takes g7. It's also extremely forcing. Wow. That's a beautiful mate, though. I can understand, like, submitting the game. What about king g8? King g8. I mean, this must have been intuition on Soltigo's part. Oh, this was, yeah, casual rapid. I mean, he couldn't have calculated this out. It's like king g8, knight g5, and he's getting mated anyway. That's insane. The guy might have even seen this far. You know, just said, okay, well, I'm probably still okay. Even queen takes e7 is interesting, but knight g5, this is amazing, you know. Like, there's unavoidable mate. That's so sick. No way to get out of it. His queen and his rook are, like, useless. Never underestimate Soltigo. I've learned that in the simuls. He's very, very cagey. That's a beautiful shot, man. There was a strong IM who what? William something. There was a strong IM. Is this a joke? I can't see my whole screen. Why is it doing this to me? Hold on a second and I'll read this. Who did that a lot? What's his name? William something. Why isn't my title showing on lichess? I don't get the joke, JCS. I guess I'm losing it. Did what a lot? What do we got here? I'm getting confused. What did I want to look up? I want to look up Tushar's game and understand JCS's joke. Okay. No, I don't see the Tushar game, but I did see it in Mr. Coffee's. Was it one of these Mr. Coffee games? Tushar? Was it Mr. Coffee where you were white or Mr. Coffee where you were black? Oh, you were black in both. Okay. You're not the one? Oh, not the one who's not to get the joke. Hembruder said I'm a good commentator. I'm a little tired now. The stream is coming to an end, so I'm kind of getting kind of like a little bit hard to follow. But the game you lost. Okay. So we'll quickly take a look at this and we'll end the stream on this, guys. Tushar is playing black here against Mr. Coffee. Tushar is higher rated. Mr. Coffee is around 1800. Tushar, well, he's 21-23 in this game. So black should have the edge. But Mr. Coffee plays, okay, bishop g5, the Tory attack, bishop g7, and then e3. I think the more accurate move for white is knight on bd2. This actually boils down to a lot of games that I play with both colors. It's a very solid way of playing against the King's Indian. Move 37, I remember you sent me now. It was more than 2 days ago. It was like three days ago, I think. But anyway. So Mr. Coffee, I don't really like as much the way he's playing this. The best bet is to play like knight d2 and e4. Of course, black can play d5. Okay, that's another story and a different variation. But I think Mr. Coffee shouldn't play e3. It's playable, but either c3 and knight d2 and e4 or knight d2 and e4 directly. e3 is kind of passive. It's playable, I don't like it quite as much. On the other hand, Mr. Coffee could convert to a Smyslov type of King's Indian, but the problem is if you play c4 here, black has this knight e4 and ideas of c5, and I'm not sure I really like that much. So it's not so easy to transition to like a Smyslov King's Indian. This is the most dynamic, c3, and then d5. Personally, with black, I think Tushar, I like setups with d6 and like b6, and playing for counter fianchetto or whatever you want to call it, double fianchetto here. I prefer that. d5 is fine. That's the way like Smyslov played with black. But I like the fianchetto. It's more flexible. Knight bd2. He did not play knight bd2. I think it's more balanced development for white to play knight on bd2. Castles here. Mr. Coffee's repertoire, I know. Mr. Coffee's a subscriber here too. Bishop f5, knight h4. Yeah, I'm always very torn about this business of like trading knights or bishops in closed positions. I think that knight h4 is wrong. It looks like he got the b3 break. He needs to break, and he doesn't have e4. So it looks like he ought to go for that. Having said that, okay, knight h4 is not ridiculous. And he can also play it like a stone wall with maybe f4. So, okay, knight h4, interesting. And then Tushar has a tough decision to let him take, to play like bishop e6, bishop d7, what do you do? Bishop e6. And now white should seriously consider f4, but then his bishop will have to trade itself on f6. But how bad is that? I mean, why don't we play this like a stone wall? How bad is h6, bishop takes f6, like pawn takes f6? Then f5 might be good for white. Yeah, f5 is really strong. So you have to take with the bishop. And this could be weird. Even like f5 is interesting. So I think Mr. Coffee seriously could try f4. But anyway, Tushar specifically wants me to look at the position after move 37. So we're going to skip down there to this ending. Then I'm going to close down the stream. King h2, knight takes e5, and so the ending. Okay, let's like sort of figure out what's going on here, guys. Black has only 2 pawns for a piece. I mean, the first thing we have to evaluate is the material. Even if we turn off the engine, okay? We evaluate the material in the endgame. 2 pawns for a bishop. It's not enough material, right? But the thing is, pawns in the endgame become very powerful. Much more so than in the middle game and opening. Particularly so when they're like connected past pawns like this. So I would go on record as saying that I would have to think that black has enough compensation for the piece here. There's also the factor that he actually has 3 connected past pawns. It's going to be hard to mobilize all 3 quickly, but so materially, even though you're down a pawn, you're not really worse. And because of the quality of your pawns. The second factor is the king position, which looks to be in black's favor. Like this king coming powerfully to like c5 quickly, I would say that black is just better. But at the end of the day, it looks like white's kingside majority is kind of like a saving grace. His king can get in the game kind of fast too with king f4. So I know what happened in the game. I saw it. But I guess if we want to evaluate the position objectively, it's a very double-edged position, very sharp, easy for either side to make mistakes, but it's probably, obviously Stockfish is evaluating 0.0, so it probably has calculated to a draw. That doesn't mean it's necessarily 100% right, but it's probably right. Yeah, I think much harder to play, for white based on the danger of those connected pass pawns. But I know that it went wrong for Tushar somehow. He misplayed it, But the biggest error that you can make in this kind of position, Tushar, is to let your pawns get kind of... It's the buddy system. The buddy system really applies. The little kids that are walking to kindergarten, everybody holds everybody else's hand like that. That's the way it is with like connected pass pawns. It's very much like buddy system. Everything needs to stay together in like a compact formation. And I think that went wrong here. Well, that's not true. Take back. He did lose. What went wrong was like Black let his pawns become like broken, or they got separated from each other and lost their way. So you can see what happens here. King G3, D4. Here already, like, maybe we should consider, mobilizing the king first. Just a thought. I'm not sure. But don't let the pawns get ahead of themselves. Knight e2, uh-oh. And if you can't push those pawns, then they've got separated from the other guy. Maybe you push the pawn a little too fast, I would think. So let's see what the computer says. King d6. Keeping everybody together, the buddy system. You're still going to have to watch out for these white pawns, but they're pretty slow. The pawns are pretty slow to advance for white. So I think that the important thing is to keep your amoeba of pawns together, to make sure that your king is in the mix too, and to use the king, the knight, and the three pawns as like a dynamic entity. Like everybody works together. I understand you had no time, but I'm just like, talking about the position as it truly is. Stockfish is calling it a draw if white plays perfectly, but probably in practice, I agree with like take back that if we ran this, like in poker you say like running it or whatever, if we ran this position in a tournament game between two equally strength players in a number of games over a period of time, I would imagine that black would have more wins than white, because in practice it's easier for white to go wrong somehow. At the moment, he has only one move that saves the game, according to the computer. So I think you let the pawns get kind of separated, and then move the head too far, and then most importantly, like he got a blockade set up. Let's see what happened here. Right. This is well played by Mr. Coffee. Okay, bishop f3 ruined your day, and then you couldn't hold it all together. That's amazing, though, how easily white can go wrong. Anyway, guys, I'm going to close it down. Time to go. Thanks for joining me for my subscriber stream. Interesting position, Tushar. Thanks for sharing. We will be back tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. CEST here with Fast Blitz Fast Friday, 5+3 against everyone. Welcome to challenge. And thanks, Soltigo, for moderating. Thanks, everyone, for subscribing. And thanks to me for stuttering. Anyway, guys, please donate, support the stream on PayPal and with bits here on lichess. I appreciate all the support I've gotten. Thanks for subscribing. Don't forget that I upload all the streams on my YouTube channel, Video Chess Training on YouTube, and we'll put this one up as all with all the others. Anyway, I'm getting tired. I'm starting to stumble over my words. One too many beers tonight, so it's time to rest. I will see you guys tomorrow morning. Again, thanks again to Soltigo. Interesting games, guys, and I hope it was instructive. It was fun for me, though. I enjoy analyzing. I probably enjoy analyzing more than playing, and you might get the sense of that. I will see you guys tomorrow morning, guys. Thanks again. Bye-bye.